Hi, welcome to video 3 of the online Basys Training, presented to you by QED, the actuarial arm of Aon Hewitt. The videos are aimed at a fairly basic level to get you started and more comfortable with the software package, but can be used to consolidate some of the knowledge you already have about Basys. This video will detail working with the database editor. Let's get started. The database editor can be accessed from the control file and the parameter file by clicking on the database editor button located near the top of the screen. The database editor provides a platform to create, view, edit, or input the valuation data or other tables that Basys can use. This includes mortality, withdrawal, stochastic, and generation tables, as well as the yield curve. The databases need to be set up before you are able to perform a run in the control file. The data or table to be viewed or edited can be selected from the available radio buttons. This will change the format of what is seen on the screen and the fields that can be adjusted. Let's start with the valuation data, as this is likely to be the more commonly used selection in the data editor. You will see the required field at the top of the display grid. There are 105 available fields ranging from the premium to sum assured to allocation percentages, as well as the various dates concerning a policy, such as birth date, commencement date, and cease date. Not every field is required and can be left as a 0 if not needed. Basys uses the first field, policy type, as the connection between a policy in a database and the parameters in a specified parameter file. Basys will look for this field and go and fetch the appropriate parameters with a matching policy type in the parameter file when performing a run. Basys also requires that the first 4 fields in the valuation data be unique when combined. That is, the product type, policy number, policy record life, and movement number. An error will occur if trying to input a policy where a combination of these 4 fields already exist. Inputting data into the database can be done in any one of 3 ways. The first is to type the data in directly. This will, however, rarely be used, as it will take a long time if you have a lot of policies. The second way is to copy directly from a spreadsheet program such as Excel. When inputting data this way, it is important to note 3 things. The first is to have the exact same heading structure as that in Basys. The second is to have no formatting of any of the cells being copied. And the third is to note that no more than 12,000 lines can be copied at any one time. After that, it is as simple as highlighting the appropriate data, copying it, going to Basys and selecting Edit, Paste. When copying data in this way, the data will be appended to whatever data is already in the database. Hence, if you have more than 12,000 lines in the spreadsheet, the copy can be repeated as many times as necessary. The third method to get data into Basys is to import from a text file. To do this, select the Open File button and select the option from the drop-down box that says Standard Text File version 1. You will be prompted to input a valuation date and then select the text file to import. Basys will automatically perform an error checking on the text file that is imported and present a summary of the error checking. The actual text file that is imported needs to be in a specific structure. This structure can be viewed by going to Edit, Data Layout. It can also be changed and adapted as necessary. The easiest way to create other tables in Basys is to recreate the heading structure in a spreadsheet and copy and paste it across. Saving, opening, and creating a new file work very similarly throughout Basys. To create a new data file, click on the New File icon or go to File, New. Select the disk icon to save. This can also be accessed via the File menu. When saving, you can save the current database as a Basys database or a text file. You will be prompted to make the selection after you have clicked the Save button. To open an existing database, select the Open File button or go to File, Open. To create a summary of the data, click on the Summary button or go to Utilities, Summaries. Select the field you would like to summarize by from the available drop-down boxes. You can select up to a maximum of 4 fields to summarize by. You can also use up to 3 conditions on the data to narrow the summary to only certain data. Click on the green button to create the summary. Use the Save icons on the left to save the summary parameters and the Save icons on the right to save the results of the summary as a .sum file. Another commonly used function in the database editor is the Universal Changes utility. To access the Universal Changes, click on the hammer or go to Utilities, Universal Changes. Universal Changes is a means to perform intelligent data editing across entire policy databases. The field to change can be specified in the drop-down box and what to change it to in the available text box. You can use formula and any field names from the database in the text box. Complex conditioning can also be used if you need to only apply the changes to specific policies. To run the universal change, click on the green Run button. Multiple changes can be set up and run at the same time, just like the runs in a control file. Universal changes can be saved just like other files in Basys. After universal changes have been run on a database, or in fact any time before a run is performed, it is a good idea to run error checking on the data. This is done by going to Utilities, Error Checking. Basys will give a summary of any errors and warnings it found. The policy type of any policies with an error will be made negative. Basys will automatically ignore any negative policy types when performing runs to ensure it does not crash. Warnings are potential problems that Basys finds. It does not make the policy type negative, but may adjust certain fields to remove the problem. An example of this is if Basys finds a policy with a term greater than 75 years. The policy will not be removed by making the policy type negative, but the term will be set to 75 years. 75 is the Basys default, but many of the defaults can be changed to whatever you find appropriate. To run a mortality or withdrawal investigation in Basys, open the data and make sure there is a valuation date associated with it. If there isn't a valuation date, go to Edit, Valuation Date, and input the date. Then go to Utilities and select the appropriate investigation. Input the appropriate information such as previous valuation date, which specifies the investigation period, the expected withdrawal or mortality rates, and any weighting for the investigation. To run the investigation, click on the green Run button. That is a brief introduction to the database editor in Basys. Please continue on to our next video on understanding Basys output and errors. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.